In this video, we'll have a look at how to use the debug.error statement effectively to debug your Exalate scripts. You're free to use the debug statement anywhere within your code that makes sense. I'll show you some examples of how the debug statement can be used to get some useful information out of the scripts. So what happens when you include a debug.error statement is that the synchronization breaks or pauses at that line code, and it gives you an insight or a window into what data you're working with. So it's pretty useful for debugging purposes, and that's actually what we're going to cover in this very episode. In order to do that, I've set up a single use case where we have a field called mood on the Jira side. It is a drop-down field with 3 static values: angry, happy, and delighted. And if we select a mood value from this drop-down on Jira, that value should reflect on the Azure DevOps side within this free-form text field called Jira Mood. Now, I know it's a pretty simple use case, and you've already seen something similar earlier in this course, but the idea is to use the debug statement and learn how to use it effectively in this example. Alright, to kick things off, we need to first set up the synchronization. So I'm going to send the field over from the Jira side and receive it on the Azure DevOps side. All I need to do is include the field in my replica on the Jira side, and that's done using this statement. Publish the changes, and on the Azure DevOps end, I should receive the field and assign it to my local work item, which is called Jira Mood. So I pick up the value from the mood field received from Jira and assign it to my custom field in Azure DevOps, and that should be it. Let's quickly test this out. If I change the value to angry, I expect the Azure DevOps text field, Jira Mood, to reflect the value angry. Let's check what we get. So we get this funny text. Looks like some address or something like that. Now let's see what's going on using the debug statement. Remember that you can add the debug statement anywhere within the code. I'll add it out here. You can either leave the brackets empty, or you can just enter a static value. I'm going to add a static message, and I'm going to publish this. Now, I just added this message to simply show you how this reflects, so that you know when it's triggered. I added the debug statement in the incoming script on the Azure side, and in order to get this code to execute, I will have to trigger a transaction from the Jira side, which will then become the incoming transaction on the Azure DevOps side. This should stop where my debug.error statement was. So let's navigate to the error screen on the Azure DevOps side and see what happens. As expected, I get my message here. Hello, how are you? And the debug.error statement has produced an error. So what's happened is that synchronization transaction is paused right now. Obviously, I'm not interested in printing a static message. So in order to print variables out here, you can use this syntax: a $sign followed by a couple of curly braces. Now, we're interested in the mood field, right? So let's see why that's misbehaving. Because when I printed out the value, it printed out weird stuff. So let's see what's happening. I made a change to my script and I will publish it. As soon as we publish the scripts, any outstanding error will automatically get retried. So let's take a look whether the error is still there. Yes, it's still there, and it's printing out this weird stuff, which was supposed to be the value of the mood field. But since this doesn't make sense, let's dive a bit deeper into it and print out the properties of this value. Let's see if this gives us a clue. Publish and refresh again. The transaction was retried. Now if we print out the properties, the first property is called value, and it's got the word happy in it, and that is the value we're looking for, right? Let's quickly test it out. I'll print out the value of the value, publish it out, and sure enough, we will have the word happy. So I received it now, and I'm free to use it however I want. I can get rid of my debug statement now, and let's print it out. And this should now reflect properly within my Jira Mood as expected.